Well, I'm usually a milk and two sugars kind of guy. But if Chris says it's a good idea, let's face it probably is.
I know what. That's it then. It's doing so well.
Yabba dabble deedle double double deedle daddle deedle doodle dabble double double doo.
Hello.
Welcome to the Filament Coffee podcast. My name is Brendan, co-founder and co-owner of Filament Coffee here in Perth. To my right, my business partner, the other half of Filament Coffee, Aaron. How are you?
I'm so good, Brendan. I've written another poem. Drove all the way to the wheat belt, a golf day far from the city. Went there for a whack and carried the team on my back. Otherwise, yeah, I'm good. I've got a sore back.
Across from me, long jump extraordinaire turned star of the Bowling Green, the unofficial mayor of Victoria Park, Mr. Chris Topher. Welcome.
Hello.
And we came and visited you
Yes.
on the weekend.
It was very exciting.
I don't know if Aaron carried us, but he was probably the better golfer on the team on the day
He had some lucky shots.
by a hair. He was all right. Boys, we are back to discuss all that is new and noteworthy in the world of coffee. Aaron, what do you have for us today?
Cold coffee is coming, Perth people.
Cold coffee is coming.
Weather,
Yep. Spelled
pun
without
intended.
Without the H.
You like it or not?
Gotcha. I've got one on sustainability, Chris.
Yep.
Right up your alley. Apparently consumers think about it differently to the farmers.
Fancy that.
And you got something very special for us. Something you previewed to us just today.
Yeah, so my article today is actually a script I've written myself.
Awesome. Looking at
You
your
were gonna
screen there
elaborate
and it's
about-
blank.
What's it on?
You'll have to stick around and find
We'll
out.
see. Stick around. Rate and review the show. Watch the video version of this podcast on YouTube. Listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Give it 5 stars. Why not? Subscribe and share. Chris,
Actually, we did share it with someone this week.
we did share the pod with a friend of yours this week.
Not
Well,
just,
actually,
not just someone.
Yeah. We made a very special friend of the pod sit down and
He's never listened to it.
sit down with us three and watch us three doing the podcast. It was very...
It's a highlight of the night.
Yeah.
Chris, don't
I
forget
don't want to say hostage situation, but
close to. Don't forget the very public announcement in front of a packed room.
that was humiliating.
Actually, yeah. Aaron won an award, was asked to speak, and just told the whole wild catchroom that Chris has a podcast.
Yeah.
And he went bright red.
Absolutely stunned to know that you hadn't told a soul.
Shout out to
Wild Catchroom.
everyone in Wild Catchroom
Shout out
listening.
to the Wiley crew.
Topher 15 for 15% off. Delicious coffee delivered to your door. Hot or cold. Doesn't matter.
Boy's choice.
Boy's choice. All right. Aaron, you're in the A block. No drinks breaks. Get into it.
All right.
Cold coffee.
I thought I'd head back to the tried and true format. Found an article this week,
Nice.
and I'm sick and tired of people not drinking cold brew in winter. I'm sick and tired of sitting on my hands doing nothing, while the business slowly fails.
Yeah.
So today I'm here to turn the tide in favour of cold. So my article today is titled "How Are Cold Coffee Beverages Changing?"
They're getting hotter.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
15-degree coffee. Thomas Blackwell from Finlays in the US says that cold coffee has gone from a summer drink to a year-round beverage consumed in many different ways.
Does that reflect your experience?
Not just yet.
But if someone's saying it, it must be true, sure.
It must be true. I think the reality is that it's true in the American market.
Mm-hmm.
So the article went through, it's quite a long one, but it went through some trends in trends in cold coffee.
Mm-hmm. Phone's on silent, Chris.
I'll just put my phone on
Mine is
silent.
always on silent.
And I've summarised a few of the trends, and I've got some discussion points here for you guys. So first trend was RTD cold coffee. So cold coffee packaged and sold as a finished product,
Which is what we do.
which is what we do.
That's what we do.
So there's been a big increase in the availability of bottled can products on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And that's apparently been driven by younger consumers. Well, they've said millennials and Gen Z. So we're millennials.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, they're a big part of that increasing demand. So I think it's the younger generation predominantly driving this move towards
Yep.
cold packaged coffee. Secondly, coffee concentrate is an emerging trend.
Yeah.
Rich. So there's a guy named Simon from Newground Coffee in NZ. He describes this as box coffee. So his business produced coffee in a goon bag, but it's a concentrate.
Yep.
And he's saying that this product that I've created is basically allowing cafes and a broader range of hospo businesses, so your bars and restaurants, to serve a variety of cold drinks much more quickly and efficiently. So instead of having to pull shots on your espresso machine and do things, you can press a button on a goon bag and
But that's not really
mix a drink.
That's not a cold weather solution, is it?
No, what do you mean?
There's just an alternative to a hot shot in a cold drink already, right? In a bar. So he's serving concentrate.
Yeah. I
bars?
think.
What, do you microwave it? Or?
No, I think what he's saying is that convenience and access to quality concentrates is meaning that bars are actually or cafes are putting stuff on their menu. So it's assisting meet the consumer demand for different and a range of cold coffee products because it's easy to do, rather than having to make espresso.
It's like how Coca-Cola arrives as a syrup for bars and McDonald's and things.
Yeah.
And they carbonate it on spot.
Yeah, probably reducing costs, making things easier. And he's also said that
Destroying the last remnant of the romanticism of having a coffee.
Yeah.
Now it comes as a brown sludge.
Yeah, that's
that
it.
you can eat
out of a box,
out of a
a
box.
4-litre box. So
Just the way the Sufi monks intended it.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, quick and efficient, and reducing the need on or reliance on espresso and highly skilled staff. And it's also allowed people at home.
So fucking bleak, isn't it?
I know, it's so bleak. It's allowed people at home to play with coffee as an ingredient, where you obviously don't have access to. Well, you might have an espresso machine, but yeah, coffee as an ingredient. I've seen box coffee here in WA.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen goon bag coffee here?
We've seen it. We've been playing with a version of a concentrate ourselves.
We've been playing with a version of a concentrate.
And I suppose that is for us. Even though it's not trying to sell a cold drink specifically to someone, it's trying to weatherproof our business a little bit. Because people are not, well, we see the difference massively, right? Summer to winter, we just do. In summer it goes, and we're really busy and flat out. And in winter it pulls right back, even though it doesn't get really cold in Perth, just because people are sensitive to it. But that is a way we could potentially, with that sort of concentrate product, access more market, more mouths, more sales in a period where the demand for the ready to drink isn't as high yet.
Yep, and you can't really make espresso on a large scale like we can make a concentrate on a large scale using our tanks.
No, not really, no.
And I think the stuff I've seen here hasn't been, or the box stuff isn't a concentrate. It's just a ready to drink.
Yeah, ready to go, yeah.
Option. It's just another way of packaging
Yep.
ready to drink cold brew.
So we're going full circle from sort of 30, 40 years ago, all people could get was that mass-produced sort of crap.
Yeah.
We've had a proliferation of cafes with artisanal experiences and highly skilled baristas,
Yep.
and we're going back to the mass-produced crap.
Was not, well, maybe it's not.
Slightly better mass-produced crap.
Yeah. More economically produced nice stuff, perhaps. I know what you're saying.
Right.
But it is, we've talked about technology and stuff before, making things easier and faster to serve people. So it does make sense.
It increases profit margins, and that's what's important.
That is what's important.
So what these guys are saying is that cold coffee is growing at 22% per year, and consumers are demanding more choice and customizable drinks in cafe environments.
And cafe owners are demanding lower wages, less staff.
Yep. Coffee shops which embrace these emerging trends are likely to reap the rewards. He says the key to successfully adding cold coffee drinks to your menu is to offer drinks which are fully customizable and easy to serve.
So it's just two of the things that they're mutually exclusive.
It is. But I was thinking, the bubble tea bars where you go and there's almost a menu, there's almost instructions. And I'm sure this is probably the case in Starbucks, perhaps. You can have quarter sugar, half sugar, full sugar. You can add, choose your 3 additives. It's almost like filling out a menu card. That it's easy for staff, so they're not pressing 7 buttons.
But it does go back to that mass-produced feel, though, when that happens. When you go in there and you're kind of ordering like that. Because the only way to do it would be syrups and flavourings and pumps, and the coffee itself's in a pump. Yeah. And then it gets served.
I was imagining like a Zambrero style
Yeah.
scenario where you've got the pumps there and you've got automated little concentrated coffee taps and things and it's making a frappe and shaking it and there you go, $7. I haven't seen it here in Perth, and I don't know that I haven't seen it in Australia. I don't know that our culture's it's definitely not there now. I don't know if it's actually going to be something here in Australia.
I don't know. I mean, it would be great having a cold brew business, being the owner of a cold brew business. Yeah, it would be great.
They spoke about cold brew a bit differently, saying that it's a staple effectively in the US.
Yeah, it has to be.
And some of the stuff was like, all the talk has been about cold brew. Now there's this
like the concentrate format.
Concentrate format and different RTD versions popping up as well.
I think I could see that probably going here faster than the RTD. I think because of our traditional espresso style culture.
Yeah.
It's different to the US based drip coffee culture that cold brew is not really different from. It's a cold version of that. Yeah. And I think it's so different here. Yeah. It's not a cold coffee, it's a cold filter black coffee, which I think is really different. And we've made a living from it, but it's a slow, steady burn. It hasn't been this exponential sort of growth that we've seen in
our other businesses.
Yeah.
No, you haven't made a Mercedes-Benz living from it.
Not yet.
You haven't made a Kid at Hale business from it.
No, not yet.
You haven't made a below-ground pool living from it.
No, none of the above. Not yet. But it's so there's difference in cultures, and it is interesting.
Below ground. My above ground pool is fucking sweet. So
it is sweet. Nice.
So I haven't finished yet.
Okay.
I haven't finished boring you two just yet. There's also health and functional beverages. So looking for clean labels and products with functional benefits, added protein, vitamins.
I hate that.
Nootropics.
I hate all of that stuff.
Different tastes and sensory experiences.
It's so
okay, Joe Rogan.
It's so popular on marketing. Like if you're advertising, you're advertising coffee, right? Literally. Mm-hmm. So how do you differentiate coffee without doing the normal differentiator of single origin and tasting notes? Yeah. You add stuff to it. Yeah. You add calorie burning stuff. You add the nootropics, tropics. You add all that stuff.
What's calorie burning stuff?
Like, have you seen? Not in. Didn't
like
you do one on
that eats the calories out of you?
You did that skinny coffee thing yonks ago?
I don't remember a single episode.
We did
but it clearly worked for me.
Scams or Good Business one. Yeah. Scams or Good Business was the episode, right? Mm-hmm. And you did the one, it was more about a multi-level marketing thing. But I think it was called, I think I beeped on the app. I'm going to have to beep that.
Yeah.
But
7 belt holes later.
There are...
You should have seen me before the fucking skinny coffee.
There are, like, a lot of pre-workouts have, I don't know, and they're adding that stuff into, pre-workout powders have green tea extract and all this weird stuff, and they're adding all that in. Mushrooms is another one that they're putting, like there's mushroom coffee, and all of this stuff, which we've looked at articles before for caffeine alone, and it is so. There's just no consensus on anything, on any benefit, and they're sort of selling. If you read the language in all of that stuff properly, there's asterisks everywhere.
Yeah.
Might, may,
Yeah.
no proven results, no nothing. But it is.
People
it is
don't care
random
though. People they still buy.
Well, that's
it,
not how
and
they
there's
buy it.
demand-
That's not
there's
how people
demand
buy
for
it. People buy it based on a fix
Aspirational.
on seven belt holes.
Yeah,
That's what they buy.
Yeah.
7 belt hole coffee.
What should we advertise our coffee as, Chris? What health benefit additive that we could potentially get sued over should we add in?
We could put a tapeworm in every can. A tapeworm in every
Instead of
can.
Tequila. some of the
Filament coffee. A tapeworm in every can.
some of the older stuff just moving
Mate,
on the shelf.
the protein on the nutritional panel would just be off the charts. On
Yeah,
that
be
note,
unreal.
Chris, I've actually come up with a list of 10 things. You guys know I don't deal in small lists.
No.
And this will be very quick
Start
because they're one-word things.
Start at the best one.
But I want you guys, start at the best one, worst one last.
Yep.
I want you guys to give me a yay or a nay. So I've come up with 10 additives that we could
Okay.
potentially add into filament
Yeah.
cold brew. And I haven't, so I've ignored syrups and sweeteners and
Yep.
dairy and
They don't sell
things
anymore.
like that.
They don't sell anymore.
No one wants a sweet coffee.
No.
So these are kind of intriguing, some of them. I'll let you guys be the judge. And after I've gone through the 10, I just want you to tell me what might be a viable
For us. Okay.
option for filament to
Yep.
save our business.
Yep. Okay.
So I told you my idea was to do a telethon episode. We should really have an episode where we do a telethon for filament.
Just don't say what the
Live
money's going to.
episode, filmed.
We could do it.
Jeff Newman.
Fat
Just the
cat.
tally on the screen, it's ticking over. It's just like 15 cents.
Get those little sad kids in wheelchairs.
We have
out
to
the
just
front.
increase the decimals. Looks like it's moving. All right, let's go. Chicory.
That's an old ingredient, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Rubber.
Rubber
Dunlop.
used
Love
to have
that.
pretty
chicory.
old. Imparts a like woody, nutty taste, like chicory root.
It's got to
Appreciate
have a health benefit.
Yay or
But
no?
Yes, no. Doesn't sell anymore.
No,
Don't look at my
I'm
screen.
not looking.
Spices, so like cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, or ginger, something like
Okay,
that.
not
A mix of or
Not like a spicy like a cayenne pepper
no,
coffee.
no. Well, maybe cane.
That'd be yeah. Could
Cane.
do.
Or yay or
We
no
did
to
we
spices.
did the choc mint, and that's like
No.
a fun.
Mate,
flavour
stop reading my screen.
Sorry,
Um,
see your screen.
So cayenne's maybe a go. You guys
Maybe.
think?
No.
Maybe.
Spices, yay or no?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to stretch this segment.
Okay, number 3, choc mint.
No.
Yay. Set ad read coming up.
Choc mint.
Just eat a fucking arrow.
Choc mint. Nay from Chris. Hops.
Yeah, we've done that. Yeah.
No.
No. Okay. CBD.
No. Everything doesn't. You see in America
That's
how
another
like
one.
it's
That's another one.
how marijuana's become legal and suddenly there's like CBD in everything.
So nay to CBD.
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to deal with the.
Just smoke a joint.
THC.
Yeah. No. Once again.
Wow. Okay. Bourbon or oak chips.
I guess like.
I have bourbon in my coffee every morning.
yeah. I knew you'd say that. This is an alternative
Chris,
to
how's
actually
how's the new
barreling
coffee?
barreling your cold brew. Yeah, how's the new coffee?
He's like, can't taste any different.
Yeah.
One-on-one.
Filament cocktail.
No,
No. Tonic.
Like
possibly. I reckon a concentrate advertised for tonic would be
too
better.
sweet, wouldn't it?
Like adding it in.
Tonic.
No.
No. Okay. I've got 8 nays
Nothing.
from Chris. Brendan, I've got a few yays. MCT oil. Just wanted to shout out
is
to your
that?
mate Dave Asprey. Who's
Dave Asprey, the guy's going to live
Bulletproof
to
coffee.
180.
How's he doing?
Just shout out to the friend of the pod, Dave Asprey. MCT oil is an ingredient in bulletproof coffee. It
Yeah.
makes your brain work far better
Yeah.
and live till you're 180.
I think honestly, I reckon that would sell, but I just
Yeah.
it's been done though. It's been done for a long
So
time.
no.
No,
It would
I
make
don't
business
like
sense if all your customers are suddenly living to 180 years old.
it. Yeah,
It's much easier to retain a customer than get a new one.
yeah.
So you could just have 20 customers that are
true.
living for almost 200 years.
It's true.
But then they like
It's true.
the MCT oil makes them wise up, and then
Oh,
they can
yeah.
do their own. You know, they
Yeah.
realise they don't need you anymore.
Yeah. If people,
grow up
if people
and
pass
move
that
on.
event horizon of intelligence,
Yeah.
they aren't going to be buying anything from us.
Yeah, it's a no.
And
That's it.
their bodies are 180 or looking good, but their minds are just cooked.
Yeah.
Like they are.
Imagine that. You've got dementia for the last 80 years of your life.
We've seen what David Asprey's been saying. All right, number 10, last one, activated charcoal.
What is activated charcoal?
Clean teeth.
It detoxifies.
I tell you
your
what.
body.
No, what's the difference between charcoal and activated
It's
charcoal?
activated.
How?
It's activated.
It's
Chris.
Let's
activated.
press the on
Haven't you
switch.
heard about activated
Hey, I'd
almonds?
say I reckon
You
this.
you soak them so that they're alive.
What, and charcoal, like,
The charcoal.
you set it on fire and it's activated?
springs to life.
If you could do a black coffee in a can that whitened your teeth with something like, because isn't there that charcoal toothpaste?
Yeah.
That would sell.
Mm.
No one use that.
No one use that. Okay.
That's ours.
All right. What's your favourite? What's your?
Activated
You gave me
charcoal.
10 names.
Activated charcoal.
Really?
Activated charcoal
Yeah.
for the
It
win.
was the last one I read.
Yeah.
Chicory,
That's the best
spices,
one.
choc mint, hops, CBD, THC, bourbon oak chips, tonic.
Charcoal.
Activated charcoal.
Activated charcoal.
All right. Well, we're saving filament with activated charcoal.
Cleans your teeth while you drink.
Cleans your teeth. I'll just write this down.
9 out of
'cause
10 dentists
I'm just-
recommend filament activated
I'm
charcoal
just adding
coffee.
this onto our blank business plan.
That would sell. That would
Your business
sell.
plan is just activated charcoal question mark?
Well,
What
I've
is
been
it, Aaron? And he
spending.
just slowly walks backwards away from the microphone. What makes it activated?
Cleans your teeth.
It's been activated.
All right, so we're going to do an activated charcoal cold brew. Legit?
Legit.
Do you actually think that's a good idea?
Yes.
If we did it, surely it doesn't. I mean, that toothpaste and stuff doesn't taste like charcoal,
So
right?
you're not
It tastes like
you're not
mint.
wanting to detoxify your body. You're wanting to whiten your teeth.
Yes, that's never been
What
done.
if you put toothpaste? What if you put toothpaste in it as well?
No, it's got to. No.
Oh my god.
The thing is, right? I've heard more than one person say they don't drink black coffee because of their teeth. It's not. I mean, if you brush your teeth, it won't
That's
make
not,
an impact.
That's not fair.
Trust me,
People
that'll.
aren't rational. Chris, I can't believe you gave me 10 nays. And Perth people, I'm looking down the barrel of the camera at you. Drink our cold brew.
Just
Drink it.
Please.
Drink it. Drink it. We've made a winter one. Made a choc mint one. What more do you want?
Yeah, that's true.
Just slurp it down. Enjoy it. Stop being so...
Sounding a little
Petty.
desperate. If I'm honest, sounding a little desperate.
Fucking
Well, the business
consumers
the
not
business
buying what you're
plan's
selling.
desperate.
Hey.
It's empty.
Speaking of consumers,
Yeah.
I've got an article this week from Daily Coffee News.
Yeah.
Title is "Coffee Farmers and Consumers Have Different Perspectives on Sustainability."
Ooh.
Is pretty interesting. So they did. I'll read the intro. They did just a small study. It says for decades, the coffee industry has been propped up as an example of sector-wide sustainability, with many actors throughout the coffee chain using similar strategies and language to define and promote sustainable initiatives. And we have spoken about some of this stuff before, the fair trade and organic and that sort of thing. While preparing to hold discussions with coffee industry actors during the 2023 Specialty Coffee Expo on the need to include the voices of farmers and farm workers in sustainability discussions, the organisation Rural Voices conducted a pilot survey. So this is a small study. 150 coffee consumers in the US and 100 coffee farmers in Honduras. So it's small. But essentially, the results highlighted quite a big disconnect between what consumers in the US and these farmers in Honduras think about sustainability movement as a whole in the coffee industry.
Yeah.
One of the starkest examples of this disconnect came through the question, do you think the sustainability movement has been beneficial for coffee farmers? And we'll come to the definition of sustainability movement.
Yeah.
4 out of 5 consumers, almost 80%, answered yes, while fewer than 1 in 3, only 31% of coffee farmers said yes. So 31% of farmers think it's been good, 80% of consumers think it's been good, whatever it is,
Yeah.
the movement in general in the coffee world.
Yeah.
In addition to this,
Croppen's fault.
cropping can help. The survey showed differing views on how sustainability will help the coffee sector moving forward. So they answered questions about how it's been and also how they think it's can move forward. Farmers considered paying farmers better prices and buying direct to be the most important, while consumers were evenly split between sort of 8 different sustainability factors, including gender equality, working environments, environmental, pay economics. So all of those things where the farmers were very much skewed towards the economic factors for them. So there you go.
So you're saying
There you
that
go.
there's a disconnect. So
Yeah.
consumers are perhaps I'm not going to say out of touch. They've probably never been in touch, but they're not in touch with what farmers.
Well, that I guess it's
needs
just
are.
and it's not. I suppose that's part of our
Well, it's
what I'd
probably
like to discuss, but it's reflective of developed nations.
it's an
and
industry you
countries.
don't really want to take a long hard look at either. Like if you're a conscientious person and you care about things like sustainability and children's rights or people's rights and people being treated fairly and equally, you don't really want to. You don't want to see how the sausage is made, so to speak.
Why is that, Chris?
We're talking about the coffee industry here.
Talking about the coffee industry, but we do know that the coffee that grows in developed countries like Hawaii in the US and here in Australia, despite the quality of it, is expensive.
Yeah.
To the point that it's not viable to buy that coffee and roast it and sell it. They have to be in Australia. It's got to be made, roasted and brewed on site, the same as a tap house at a brewery to make that work.
Yeah.
So if the industry sort of did get itself together all the way through from the farmers to the consumer, we'd be paying a lot different for coffee. And that's what you're saying. This is one industry where you've got developing countries and growing the product and selling it into developed nations.
Yeah.
Not dissimilar to chocolate.
Every time I turn a label over on anything, it's made in China or Taiwan or India or Vietnam or aren't most things made in the developing world?
Well, Taiwan is a developed country.
Okay.
Firstly.
Well, most things are made. I mean, manufactured potentially different to farming, but probably the same. I mean, we're talking about sustainability as a whole, which we should probably start there. What do that word sustainability, what does it mean to you as a consumer of coffee? You've got the 3 pillars, I guess: economic, social, environmental. But when you hear sustainability in your day-to-day context, right, of how you go about your day and how you think sustainable practices are.
Probably more environmental would be
I think it dominates developed
the way,
countries.
the way that it's talked about here.
Yeah, and that's what this study is really showing. But we do still see economic, at the moment, inflation is up. There's social issues with housing crisis. There's social discussions in politics. Those things exist. But in most developed nations, because really the hierarchy is of a developing nation generally, is first economic. That is what gets focused on. Then social issues generally, and then lastly environmental.
Yeah.
And so it is easy for the developed world to focus on.
Yeah, if you're a farmer in a developing nation, you're not going to worry about those higher
You
things
can't.
if your bread's not being buttered.
No.
Yeah, if you're struggling to make ends meet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's sort of, I mean, I don't want to say it's obvious, but it feels obvious.
Yeah, it is. It is one though when you do hear sustainability here and the focus on environmental. It is. I guess it's one thing. A popular, I guess, belief or movement in the climate change world is to get those countries out of poverty. Where, that's easier said than done, obviously. But then the social influence of education and gender in the workplace.
Do we want them to get out of poverty?
We do. I think.
Where's the coffee going to come from?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that was one of my questions: is how much would you pay for a cup of coffee on the assumption that the coffee growing countries, were getting a minimum wage and their kids were going to school, and their partners are in the workforce as well, and they're all of a sudden 2 incomes, the cost of the houses go up, cost of the cars go up,
Yeah.
the population drops, and all of a sudden they need more money all the time. So minimum
Yeah.
wage in that country happens,
Yeah.
it's legislated, and it goes
people
from there.
won't pay $10-12 a cup. I don't think.
Well, how much did coffee cost 50 years ago?
I think they will. They'll just drink less. No?
I could see it if, I don't know, I mean, I could see it if that happened.
$10.
I could see coffee becoming like a dining out experience,
Yeah.
like going to a restaurant when you're a kid. You go and have a coffee out once a month or something, and the rest of it comes home. If this were to happen, which it probably can't.
Well, I mean, something like
Probably not in our
crayfish,
lifetime.
lobster never used to be a fancy thing. They were just bottom feeders that were everywhere.
It wasn't. I didn't know
and
that.
since there's so few of them now, they've become more of an upscale thing that people go out and do, and they're happy to pay the extra money for it.
Yeah.
Even though it is essentially a bug,
Bug.
that eats just rotting
Yeah.
corpses of fish.
Yeah, so it's shifting it from the rarity of it makes it a luxury item, and therefore people with
Well, that's what would happen.
dollars can
Yeah.
afford.
And is that a bad thing? No.
Possibly not. It's a culture change again.
If it means that people in these countries that are making it are getting a living wage, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've got, obviously, there's thousands of issues you could point to as to why it can't just happen like that. It probably won't happen in our lifetimes. I doubt it.
Do you know if these farmers are turning to other things?
yeah, there's
these
this
countries
brown sludge from New Zealand
already.
I mean, I have heard that,
comes in a goon bag.
but I don't know what the practicality is of just pulling out a crop and putting in another one. I assume it has to happen over a period of time.
Is automation something they can do? It's quite hand intensive though, isn't it? Like cocoa.
Yeah, but it's like anything. It's like when Aaron and I started at the farmers market, you have to do everything by hand. You have to take it down there yourself, and you can't do this on day one. You can't buy a kit
Yeah.
that costs you tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars on day one. It won't happen. But I guess a question to finish is, what if? Because it does sound a little bit almost patronising, thinking that consumers in developed worlds found one of the biggest issues to be workplace environment and equal rights in the workplace, and the farmers are like, we just want to get paid.
Yeah.
That's what's important. Whereas we are disconnected, and that's probably pretty obvious. What do you think? One thing that you could do to help sustainability, Chris?
Don't consume.
Don't know.
No, seriously. If consumers want a change in the world, just don't partake in anything you don't agree with.
But you know that like for coffee, that just will not happen.
Well,
It goes back actually to the environmental discussion about
Yeah.
people will not take a step backwards. You got to get these other people up so that everyone can be focused on the environment. People won't just stop coffee to help the coffee farmer. We got to be using cropping. It was a gimme. I lobbed up a gimme. We got to be using cropping.
I don't remember what that is really. It's something about like Bitcoin. Isn't
There's
it?
a
it is.
there's a sack
Some
of coffee over
tracing
there
mechanism.
that has been purchased by Matt.
Through cropping.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that is, and it's a way of ensuring those farmers are getting the money that,
And that's grown in Switzerland
yeah,
by a farmer on the side of the Matterhorn earning $80,000 a year.
that's it.
Oh, awesome.
But that, I think, that from the farmer's point of view, that is the biggest impact we can make as consumers for them at the moment.
Yeah.
As opposed to, for example, going over there and educating them on other issues.
Workplace
I'm
culture.
sure there is obviously lots of work to be done everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you can see that hierarchy happen, economic, social, not always, and it fluctuates. When COVID hit, environment went out the fucking window. It was a secondary benefit because all the planes went to the ground, but single-use plastics, none of that stuff mattered anymore when
Yeah.
COVID hit because of that that health issue. It just goes whoop, straight away. So farmers need the dollars. They need to be paid fairly, and it has to get all the way back to them.
So what? Okay. Here's a question for you: have you identified one thing that you could do to improve that aspect to your coffee, the sustainability, I guess, without taking the bottom out of your business and still being able to survive yourselves? Is there like one thing you haven't done there yet that you could possibly look at doing now or in the future?
The biggest one that we do is
The
working.
one that you're not doing.
We're not doing.
This isn't an advert. I don't want you to
No,
talk
no.
about how good it is. Is there something that you could take the next leap and promise to your listeners right now that by next week you'll be doing? No. For the future, for the murky future, just say.
For the murky future, I mean, I do have to say, refer to what we are doing currently. Is the coffee that we do source is as directly traded as opposed to the fair trade or the organic or that. Like that is one that we've done for a long time and one that Matt helps us with. Most of the coffee consumed in the world is not that coffee. It's commodity grade coffee and it gets very murky where it's traded. So the biggest impact as far as the farmers go is one thing that we are doing already. I mean, it's those other issues, I suppose, that you can do. But I would say it's paying for their coffee.
There's different organisations around, and one that Matt uses a lot are Southland merchants who have programs in those developing countries to, some of them are social projects, and maybe they're in areas where they're already getting paid a good wage, and that's important to build schools or support infrastructure or whatever it is.
Other projects to get involved in.
But getting involved perhaps with those, because for us to go to Origin and find farmers and agree a price that it's just impossible. As a very small business here in Perth.
Something we would like to do is
It'd be cool
build I think what you're going to say is probably build a partnership with a farm.
Yeah.
Farms can be seasonal though, and smaller lot farms, it's that becomes hard to do. But a local one, PNG or East Timor or somewhere geographically close would be great. The opportunity to visit them and meet them, that would be
just to be a consistent, constant customer through the seasons and adjusting what we're paying based on what they're experiencing in terms of their yields and wage, all that stuff, and like speaking to them. I mean, you can't really do it properly without actually having that relationship. And it's very hard when it's not something that's grown here. What about you, Chris, as a Wheatbelt resident? You know a lot of farmers. Is there anything, I don't know, any similarities between the agricultural industry here in Western Australia?
I mean, what?
Like just
farmers here and the farmers over there?
Yeah, or just industry. I don't know. Are farmers here complaining about prices? Are they what's happening? Do you think farmers here, I mean, on the basis that we're in a first world country, do you think they get paid fairly for what they do?
I would just say that, and I haven't visited these third world farms, so I don't know how valid the complaints are, because every farmer that I know complains constantly about everything, all the time. The price is always too high. The profit is always too low. There's the wait list for a Toyota 300 Series Land Cruiser is too long. So
maybe they're just
to me, some of these complaints seem frivolous, but I've seen it on the ground level. I haven't been to Colombia or East Timor and seen if their complaints are equally frivolous. I don't know. Farmers do just like to complain, in my experience.
That's good. That's actually, it wasn't covered in the article, if they could just be bullshitting.
They could just be Did anyone just check if these guys are bullshitting?
Are there any biases, like natural farm-related biases? It's a tough industry. You don't get
very
rewarded
reliant
for
how hard you work.
Exactly.
Reliant on luck.
Yeah. I know a guy that was trying to get a holiday home up in Cottesloe, and he had to buy a block in Mandurah.
Wow, that's a big downgrade.
That's stunning.
On the coast still.
Still on the coast.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it, boys?
It's tough. It is tough. But it is really interesting to see too. There are things that it's not surprising, like you said, but there is a very different, when we hear the word sustainable, your mind goes straight to the environment here. Yeah. Because not everyone, but most people, the economics is there. People have education and housing, hopefully. So it can move, the conversation can move to that. So when you're thinking about the farmers, people just, again, they put their own lenses on a situation and go, they need to be doing these things. And the farmers say, we just need some income. We just need some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, that everyone has their own struggle and things they care about, and
Yeah.
it's hard to care about everything, so you just create your own problems and
Yeah.
things. So people aren't actually really that worried, most people, that worried about sustainability. I mean, their actions demonstrate that. Or there's just a lack of information or understanding of
Yeah.
Yeah.
of that stuff. And like Chris said, stop consuming. Otherwise,
They won't know.
Yeah. And also,
I know that.
have we checked if these guys are lying or not?
Yeah, that's the last one. Just double check. Always double check.
I guess I'm off to the country then, mate. I'm going to join you.
Awesome.
I'm going to
We'll start a kibbutz.
kibbutz. What's that?
Well, you can Google it later.
Wow.
All right.
I'm very excited about what's to come.
This episode, I am. Chris
Okay.
has got something for us.
Chris is
Pretty special.
yeah.
I understand.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so I had the idea because you've been going for what, 5-6 years now?
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting further away from the time where you started, and I think memories can get blurry.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there should be a document about how you all got started.
Yep.
So for you to reflect on, and I then angled that into a sort of a screenplay, an idea of we could do like if this becomes. I just watched the Nike movie about how they made the Air Jordans.
Oh, yeah.
There was like, now they're doing movies about how products
Yeah,
are made.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
yeah, and I thought, what about a dramatization
Yeah.
of the start of Filament Coffee?
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris, of course, wasn't here the
Okay.
episode that we did the backstory. And even if he was, apparently, he wouldn't remember.
No, but this is
You
like,
went to
I've
Meriden for
listened to
chicken
it.
treat that day. That's why you
Yes.
couldn't make the call.
yes, but I've sent it to both of you, so let's crack
Okay.
it
So
open.
are
and-
we
So what-
required to do any acting
No,
today?
yes, you are. So what we're doing is,
We're like table reading, right?
yeah, it's like a table read. So I will do,
Great.
I will say all the settings,
This is
the introductions
fantastic.
and everything.
This is
And
gonna
what
be-
you guys will do is only your characters, okay? So don't read ahead.
No,
Now,
no.
What I want to ask first is, leave anything, if you've got a problem with anything or if anything doesn't scream
Afterwards.
to be 100%, leave it to the end, okay?
Afterwards.
Let's just get through the table read without comment, and then, so I'll be doing
So
the...
we're not entitled to edit as we go and
No,
just
no,
leave
no,
stuff.
no.
Okay.
So
This
I'll
is
be
the
doing,
first-
I'll be
this is
doing
the first draft.
locations, the setups. I'll be doing any other characters that pop up.
Okay.
Okay, but you guys just do yourselves.
All right.
Okay. Act 1, Genesis. Exterior, BDO offices Subiaco. April 26, 2014. Two young men in tight collared shirts and ties, one also wearing tight tailored shorts, stand outside work on their lunch break.
Oh man, this accounting biz is really getting me down. Yes, the money's good and the bros are in shape, but man, I just want to get out of the 9 to 5.
Yeah, man, it sucks. We're here busting our asses working for the men. All our friends are passing us by, working for themselves.
Yeah, like Chris. That man has it all. His own company, he sets his own hours, and is his own boss. He lives in the countryside even though he could definitely afford to buy a house in the city. He just doesn't want to because he enjoys the community aspect of life in small towns.
Yeah, he really does have it all, doesn't he? By the way, he took me to golf on the weekend. Man, why didn't he go pro? He's got the talent. Well, I guess he's too old now.
He's only 36, Bren. That's not too old, especially in golf, and especially with his ability. I guess he just feels that playing sport for a living is beneath him, and he's absolutely right.
Page 2.
So how can we get out of this? Can we start our own business? What would we even do?
Coffee.
What?
Let's get a coffee and think about it.
Sure.
Interior, coffee shop. 2 weeks later, Bren and Aaron sit in a dome cafe, excitedly talking in hushed tones.
So I called Chris to get his advice on our idea to do the coffee business.
Good call. What did he say?
Firstly, he said we can't just have coffee as an idea for a business. Suggested we started selling retail.
Retail, huh? Isn't the market saturated? What would be our point of differentiation?
I didn't tell you the best part, the genius of Chris's idea. Cold brew coffee.
What the heck is that?
Coffee brewed by cold process and sold to be drunk black and cold. I was skeptical at first, but he whipped me up a batch and my mind was blown.
Well, I'm usually a milk and 2 sugars kind of guy. But if Chris says it's a good idea, let's face it, it probably is.
I don't know what. Let's see then. It's doing so well. Best part is he said he'd throw us some stage capital.
This is so fucked.
As a starter partner, it's really no big deal for him, as he's very financially secure. He only drives a Mazda 3 because it's one of the few modern cars that comes with manual transmission, while also being practical and fun to drive.
True that. With a guy like that on our side, we can't possibly fail. I can't wait to tell my pregnant wife I'm leaving my 6-figure salary and stable work environment to follow my dreams.
Smash cut. Interior warehouse. 4 weeks later, with Chris's idea in hand and funding in place, the boys are in the warehouse. Chris found them, prepping up for their first production run. There's a knock on the door. It's Brendan's dad.
Daddy, you came.
Aye, laddie. Your mom made me come to see what all the fuss is about.
Well, what do you think, Daddy? You wrote it.
Firstly, lad, you're 32 years old. It's time to knock off the daddy shite. Call me pa. Call me pa. Secondly, what kind of coffee business are you setting up here? All the connections to those brew tanks are cold. On cold water.
Allow me to explain, Mr. Gilliam. We're making a special kind of coffee called cold brewed. You make it and drink it cold.
Cold coffee? Jesus, Mary and Joseph, what the bugger are you talking about?
It's going to be the next big thing. In summer anyway, we'll probably only do just enough to get by in winter initially, but eventually expand to mitigate that.
Cold coffee. Coffee is a beverage to be enjoyed hot, in a bloody great mug with milk and sugar, and a wee shortbread biscuit on the side. What you lads are doing here is, well, it's unnatural, that's what it is. Brenny, you come from a long line of hot coffee drinkers, including myself and my father before me. This will never ever work, and I'll be damned if I'm the one to tell your mums what violations of the laws of nature are up to here, because it will send her to her grave.
Brendan, your daddy's right. This is never going to work. Who wants to drink their coffee cold? We've thrown our fucking lives away, damn it. Our whole fucking lives.
Fuck, we're so fucked. We gave away our nice, stable careers as jock accountants for this bullshit. I'm going to call Chris right now and tell him his idea was bullshit and send him back that generous seed capital he lent us to get this going.
Wait. Did you say this was Chris's idea? That rich friend of yours that lives in the country by choice and is really good at golf, like professional level good. The one that also is a pilot and could have flown airline, but he didn't want to.
Yeah, that's him. This entire thing was his idea.
Well, I take it back, laddie. If a guy like Chris says it's a good idea, then you have to see it through. People like that can see the future in the way plebs like us can't. If he's gifted you with the inspiration, you damn well follow it through.
Brendan, your daddy's right. This is our one shot to make it on our own terms. Can you imagine giving up and going back to that accounting office, hat in hand, begging those physically impressive guys in shirts that are probably like one size too small for our old jobs back? How will I look my pregnant wife in the eye and tell her I'm back to being a junior partner at an international accounting firm with a great salary and clear progression path to partner in 5 years? How can I look my future daughter in the eye? I'm all in for the Filament Coffee Co. How about you, Brenny?
Aaron, I'll be honest. I'm scared. I'm not the risk-taking type. I've never hit a drive with anything but a 4-iron. I don't like uncertainty, but I do like coffee. And I guess with time I can convince myself that black coffee, drunk cold, kind of tastes okay too. Oh, and by the way, the name Filament Coffee Co. Oh, and by the way, the name Filament Coffee Co. Chris had that last piece of advice. Drop the from the name. Sounds cooler.
Filament Coffee Co. Now I'm feeling it. End of Act 1.
Nice.
Wow.
So that's
fantastic.
how I remember it.
There's a few. Dad's not Scottish, so there's a few embellishments there. But all in all,
I'm glad you picked up that was Scottish because I fell out of it.
that was good.
I love it how I started calling Brendan Brenny towards the end, like, as if I'd become Scottish too. I felt the urge to start speaking with a Scottish accent. Brenny.
That was great.
Filament Coffee Co.
Filament Coffee Co. Well, that's your segment.
Yeah.
Done. I think. If you're happy to, I think we could probably just
Keep
keep
going.
building on this.
Yeah.
We got
I've got
6-7 years of stories.
No, well, I've got 37 acts all written up and ready to go. I just thought,
Do it.
for the sake of brevity, give people a little taste.
Yeah.
Maybe someone wants to buy the story. Maybe, I buy the story. I'm quite wealthy and I live in the country by choice.
Yeah.
How is your Mazda 3?
It's one of the most practical modern cars you can get. It still comes with a manual transmission.
So good. All right.
We're in a break now.
Long episode. Very quick ad read, then a
Okay.
break.
Wow. I'm all flushed.
Christmas in July. Keep your eyes out, ladies and gentlemen, for Choc Mint.
Ooh.
Super limited release of Choc Mint cold brew we've done up.
I think we've actually run out.
We're close already.
Yeah.
We won't be doing another one because it was a
We'll
complete...
have to do another batch.
No, it was a balls up.
Don't worry, I've got the method sorted.
Okay. Well,
We'll make more.
I'm trying to promote scarcity and urgency.
Well, when I say we'll make more, we'll
Yeah.
make like another 15, 20 cans.
Oh.
Not a lot.
Okay, so get in. Christmas in July. Check the website, www.filament.coffee.
On sale now.
Choc Mint. No, well, when this goes out.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Choc Mint.
Choc Mint.
All right. For continuity purposes, Aaron has put a jacket on after the break.
Yep.
Because on the video, one just flashed onto your body just then. But that's fine. We've got Coffeenomics
as well.
Coffeenomics.
Brendan, sometimes you get the bear and sometimes
Oh, yeah.
the berry gets you.
I don't know it.
Last episode, Chris, $1.85, you remember? Today, $1.66.
Can you please put those on while you do it?
Sure.
Google a picture of Ted Kaczynski's screen with the moustache and everything.
$1.66 per pound. That's a 15.
What was it? Sorry, I missed that because of the...
$1.85 last ep.
Really?
166, so it's come down about 20 cents. A bit over 10%.
Cha-ching.
12-month high, $2.43. So we're sitting 80 cents
Massive.
below that. Big 33% drop.
Awesome.
So it's a 5-month
Awesome, I just said. Talking about farmers getting paid roughly. Awesome.
5-month low for prices. And
Have a look at him.
the US Climate Prediction Center,
Mm-hmm.
of which I'm a committee member,
Yeah, yeah.
on June 8 at our meeting declared an El Nino weather event, which is likely to be supportive for coffee prices, as in coffee prices going lower.
Okay.
El Nino is good, dry weather.
Yep. Okay.
Arabica coffee has fallen due to favourable weather in Brazil that has eased frost fears and paves the way for an even quicker harvest.
All right. Nice.
So things are looking really good in Brazil, hence the
Yeah, it's always Brazil
drop.
leading the charge. I'll put that up. And Chris, I replied to your email that you sent the script through with a listener question this week, specifically a health advice.
Excellent.
Health advice with dry ears.
I've got it.
All right, so just slow down. Aaron, when I do like some shorts of this episode, it's not going to make any sense for you to dress like that. It's fine.
Hi, Chris. I need some advice. I must be one of the few people in this world that just can't stand the smell of freshly ground or brewed coffee. I haven't always been like this. I used to love coffee so much. I think this is a result of a big weekend with the boys last year ago when we got into the Kahlua hard. Jesus, we got hard on the Kahlua. There was a group of about 7 or 8 of us that just go off the grid for full 48 hours once a year out the back of Collie and just get into it. In 17 years, we haven't missed one. But the last one left me damaged. I was barfing non-stop for a whole 2 days after I got home. The trip is next month, and still to this day, whenever my wife turns on the coffee grinder in the morning, the smell hits me, I just start barfing all over the front of myself. It's a real problem. I love coffee, and I've completely ruined my life driving so much Kahlua into me out the back of Collie. Out the back of Collie. Darkin, shout out to the Darkin boys.
Darkin.
I'm in meetings for work constantly, and I can't go more than a couple of hours on any given day without getting the smell of someone's coffee and instantly barfing uncontrollably. It happens faster than I can blink, and it moves me backwards. It's so disrupting to have a shower and change after each exhausting bath session. Far out. My eyes are constantly bloodshot from all the burst capillaries from the ferocity of my barfing. Last week, a bath stream turned the lights off in a meeting room from 5 meters away. What do I do? My wife keeps drinking coffee and says this is all my own fault. I could leave her, but it really won't move the needle on all of the out-of-home barfing I've been doing. The collars of my T-shirts break down after 2 or 3 wears from bath acidity. My wife tells me to book an appointment to see a doctor, but they'll just tell me to stop the Kahlua. I need your help, Chris. Tell me what to do. Thanks, and keep up the great work. Graham Panthers Geraldton.
There you go.
Wow.
Thanks, Graham.
Yeah. Well, firstly, don't listen to no quack.
No, well, he's
about-
obviously not.
Yeah.
Not interested in that.
Health advice with Chris.
Health
Yeah.
advice. What can you do? Everyone's got that spirit or that alcohol that the smell of just. But this is translated to actual hot coffee
Yeah.
for Graham.
Yeah. I think you really, at this point, need to just learn to live with it.
He's trying. He can't live with
No,
it.
but what's he going to do? Stop drinking Kahlua with the boys out the back of Collie?
He doesn't want to do that.
He's not going to do that.
It's not an option.
It's not a life well lived if he doesn't get to do these kind of things.
So you think he needs to just invest in coveralls or bibs, or because he's gonna encounter coffee.
He's going to
All the
encounter coffee
time.
all the time, unless he moves somewhere where coffee's less frequent.
Where's Graham from?
Geraldton, yeah.
It's pretty warm there. Does he need to
Long
wear
drive.
shirts?
In meetings.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there as well. Maybe move somewhere in the tropics where you don't need to wear a shirt.
His chest hairs
Move
just
to-
all patchy.
Move to Sri Lanka where it's very tea
Just
sort of
fly
society.
in for the collie trips.
But it doesn't solve the. Now, people these days are increasingly isolated from social groups. You know how hard it is to make friends over.
Oh, you shouldn't
30.
stop. You shouldn't stop going to collie.
Yeah. You can't give that up. It's so important to
Could
not
you-
live a life in isolation.
Could you get make yourself sick off something else? Would it transfer? He's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Like if you got really, I mean, Kahlua for the boys on the trip, but something just overeat. I don't know.
Oh, so move the bath onto another.
Just to something else that's less frequent than coffee. Coffee's going to see all the time. You can't avoid it because it's the smell of it. So you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
Something else that is,
Well,
he's going to account less often.
You know how you can get hypnotized to stop smoking? Maybe there's
Hypnosis.
a hypnosis sort of thing where you can get used to the smell of coffee. And
That's great. That's great health advice.
I think that is pretty great.
from Chris.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a hypnosis thing?
No.
Not for smoking, obviously, but for,
No,
for some other
You're
affliction.
terrified of
No,
it.
I'm far too clever for them. But I understand how they work.
Yeah,
You know, the power of suggestion, it means nothing to me.
we know that.
Yeah.
All right. Great health advice.
Thanks, Panthers.
Great episode.
Yeah.
Great ep.
Thanks for coming down to the warehouse, boys.
Yeah, thanks for setting this up again way back in the day. I enjoyed that. I think we're going to continue. We're going to continue the script. Next episode, Chris, then he doesn't complain about, he didn't get the notes or something.
We'll see. You don't want to do it every week because it'll lose a bit of enjoyment, I'm sure.
I think the first week, I have a feeling already that the first week we don't do it, we'll get messages and
Yeah.
complaints
Mm.
immediately.
Yeah.
I've got a good feeling about it.
All right, we'll see.
I've got a good feeling about it. All right, thanks guys. We're done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brenny.
You know what?
Thanks,
You're not waving, you
thanks,
Homer.
thanks, Brenny. See ya.